Hey everybody, it's David. Financial advisors. Are they a good thing? Are they a bad thing? Is that something that could be helpful to you? Well, that is what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to tell you my opinion on financial advisors. Going to talk a little bit about the difference between the different types that there are and why I think having one could potentially cost you tens of thousands of dollars, which is why, hey, I'll tell you right off the bat, why I do not use one. But hang on, at the very end, I'm also going to give you two reasons why I think, well, hey, maybe having a financial advisor is a good thing. So are you ready? Hey, let's talk about it. And hey, before we get going, I'd like to know, what do you think about financial advisors? Are you using one? What type of advisor are you using? Do you think it's worth it? Leave comments and let me know. I love hearing from people that agree, but I also love hearing from people who disagree with me. And in this video, we are talking about financial advisors. So a little bit of a warning. These type of videos tend to attract a bunch of spam. So if you're looking down in the comments and you see, hey, well, I've earned a bunch of money thanks to Mary Jane Make You a Millionaire, that is probably spam. Just ignore it. So I remember the first time that I had an encounter in a relationship with a financial advisor. I was very young, just married a few months, and I had this customer that was a financial advisor, and he was so great. Just a terrific person, I thought. And he invited my wife and I out to talk to us a little bit about our finances, to help us out. So he went to this fancy country club, he took us out to dinner, and he gave me this great talk about dollar cost averaging and the need at our age to start investing, and it really all sounded great. So much that I signed up. Well, what I did was I bought an investment product which is known as whole life insurance. Oh God. Yes, that is what I did. It was a few months later I started listening to Dave Ramsey where I learned all the reasons why that was such a horrible idea. And it turns out I was really not dealing with a financial advisor. I was meeting with an insurance salesman. And it didn't take me long to get out of that whole insurance thing. And that kind of began my journey on DIY investing, learning how to do it myself. You know, back in the old days, it was kind of hard. There was E-Trade and other things. It's not like it is now, where it is so simple. And investing for myself, DIY, I've been doing that for now, gosh, close to 30 years. And some of the things I've learned is that it is not hard, and that most people, most average people like me, do not need that financial advisor. I'm going to get into some numbers in a moment, but before we do, let's talk about the different types of financial advisors. The most well-known and probably most popular legacy type advisor is the AUM, Assets Under Management. And these folks get what is perceived as a small fee for managing your investments. Those fees tend to run from 1% up to 2%. Sounds like a very little bit. The average, from what my research is telling me, is about 1.5%. So basically, whatever your nest egg is, every year that investor, because he or she is helping you grow your investments, gets to keep 1 to 2% of everything that you have. The benefit is that they have skin in the game. The more that you have, the more wealth that you have, the more money that you make. And psychologically, that 1% or 1.5%, 2%, it seems really small because, hey, after all, they are promising to do all these great things that your investments will grow bigger than without them. The other type is a fee-only advisor. And these folks typically are only going to help you on a project, or they help you and they're paid for by the hour. And those fees can vary greatly depending on what they do for you. So assets under management and fee only. Those are the two types of advisors that you will hear most often referenced. Okay, let's talk about that asset under management advisor. So we're looking at putting in $10,000 a year, starting with a $10,000 balance over 25 years with an 8% return. That ending balance would be around $799,000. Well, that is fantastic. Well, now let's throw in that 1.5% assets under management fee and let's see what happens. That balance with that fee included takes you down to $641,000. Yeah, that's right. You are not paying that person 1%. Well, maybe you are, but in real dollars, it ends up being a $158,000 difference between what you have using an advisor and what you would have without one. Well, I don't know about you, but at the end of 25 years, that $158,000 could make a big difference. That's money to pay for healthcare, pay off some debt, take some trips, a lot of different things. That is real money. And imagine if you were putting in more than $10,000, making more than that 8%, that difference, that fee difference can really add up over time. That 1.5% is actually being quite generous. There are so many other hidden fees that those advisors throw in. You got to look closely. I had a person share with me some of their funds that they had, and I was just absolutely shocked. This person uses an advisor and had 43 different mutual funds being used. I'm not making this up. 43 different funds. Well, no wonder they need an advisor. It's called the complexity trap, where the advisor, because they're so smart, put you in the funds and things that are so complicated that, yeah, of course you're going to need this person. And then if you dig deeply into the funds, which is I did, I found funds within that had 2% annual fees. And typically they were anywhere between 1% and 2%, not low-cost index funds like I do. So not just the assets under management 1.5% fee, you also have to consider the fees within the funds that were being used. Yeah, if it were 43 different individual stocks and that's the type of investor that this person was, that would be okay. But this was not the case. These were 43 different funds, all having their own separate fee as well. Of course, the argument for using an advisor is that you will get a greater return. And in many ways, hey, maybe that is true, but facts don't have feelings. You might feel like you're going to get a better return using an assets under management active advisor, but the facts say differently. There are many studies, and I will place some links down in the description, that clearly show that actively managed accounts with these fees do not beat simple index investing. Think about it. That 8% return that we talked about earlier, let's take off 1.5% for the fee. Well, that advisor, just to equal your 8%, now has to be at 9.5%. So to beat that, they're going to have to really go up and have a lot more return than you get with your simple portfolio at 8% or whatever it happens to be. Every fee that the advisor has is not only taking money out of your return, it is also your long-term compounding. And that advisor, to make up that 1.5% difference, has really got to exceed the market returns. I have spoken with many people that have financial advisors, and I have yet to find one that truly understands how much they are paying for that service. Is it worth $158,000 to you to have that assets under management advisor? Hey, maybe it is. My call to action on this is that if you have one, is that you truly understand how much it is costing you. Once you understand those fees and that cost, you can make a real decision about, is this worth it? Am I getting that $158,000 value from the advice that I am getting from this person? All right, as promised, I said I would tell you a couple of reasons why I think you might want a financial advisor. Well, let's get started with this. First of all, I think you figured out by now I'm not going to recommend an assets under management advisor. A fiduciary person who has a legal obligation to put your interests first, fee-only advisor, in my opinion, is the way to go. And for a lot of people, yeah, that might be a good thing. If you are an emotional investor, you're very worried about everything that you have in your investments, and you just need that outside neutral voice to say, hey, yeah, this is okay what you're doing, or no, this is a bad idea, you need to do this instead. Maybe that is the person for you. If you're a person who is a panic seller or maybe a panic buyer and you need that outside voice to say, wait a minute, let's talk about this a little bit, maybe that type of advisor is for you. Again, fee-based advisor. Another reason is complexity. maybe you do have a very complicated portfolio. Think of that person with 43 different accounts. It'd be really hard to spin that out and take it down to something simple. Maybe you're in a blended family, or you own a business, or you have just a very complicated estate. I can really see in that case how someone might need an expert to help them with that. And retirement is also very complicated. It's really different being in preservation and then also starting to spin down your portfolio. Maybe you need some expertise for that. That is okay. And hey, third thing, maybe you just need someone to look over your plan and say, you know what, this is a good plan. It's actually something that I am very open to doing someday. So here is my takeaway. The most important thing is don't do anything you don't understand. If you are using an advisor, dig really deep and find out how much it is costing you so that you can make the conscious decision that, yeah, hey, it's worth it. I'm going to keep doing this. The other thing is to understand the impact of those fees. It's not just impacting, how much your annual returns are. It's also impacting your compounding over a long period of time. I honestly believe that most regular people like me, do not need an advisor, especially in that building the wealth stage. That is actually the easiest part. Find you some low-cost index funds, read books like The Simple Path to Wealth, and you will do just fine. If you do decide that you need an advisor, go with that fee-based person that has expertise in what you are trying to accomplish, whether that is how to spin down your investments in retirement or whatever your need is. Go with that fee-based person. All right, well, that's it for this week. Hey, maybe I triggered something in you. Someone's like, wait a minute, and you're going to argue with me. That is great. Maybe you are someone who's into simplicity like me. Hey, tell others down in the comments how you have done just by doing things simply. Either way, if you made it to the end of the video, I am so thankful for you. I love that you're part of my channel. I love the comments, the thumbs up, all those things, of course. Thank you so much for watching.